The Red Pill Phone Tap. Coming at you again. I am Wesley.
Anthony in this bitch.
Anthony is in this bitch. We are here today for a nice warm segment. No desk pounding that we have planned.
Hey, get you any passion coming from you is welcomed. Nobody's trying to take your passion from you, man.
Except maybe me.
Maybe me. Just don't break the desk.
Yeah.
That's all.
We need these desks. It's part of this show. Welcome to the show again today, guys. We've got some very good stuff planned for you. In this segment specifically, we've said many times on this show, it's hard to be alone. It's hard to walk the path least traveled, right? It's hard to stand on your own. It really, really is. And what we want to talk about specifically, when you get in this red pill community, it's really hard to compare yourself to others. And that's what this segment is about. And Anthony, you brought me this segment to kind of think about in my head, to kind of come up with my paradigm. You brought this to me a month ago, and you were telling me that this is what's happening out there to our listeners. They're having a real hard time because what do we do as humans? Whenever we learn some new knowledge, men like to go share that other knowledge with other men.
Yep.
Right? You bounce this, I mean, what's going to sound like to them radical ideas, because it's contrary to everything we've been taught from Disney, from our parents, from society. And we're like, whoa, hold on a second. I mean, it can't be that contrary, right? And it is. Yeah, and it is. And we wanted to kind of not only sympathize with you tonight about being able to stand alone, about the trouble you're having with comparing yourself to others, but we want to give you some possible solutions. Now, Anthony, what are you seeing out there with our listeners when they're, even if they're hypothetical? What kind of scenarios are you seeing people in when they're comparing themselves to others, and then they become confused and they kind of come up short with their red pill strategies?
Man, and it can vary, because a lot of times it's not always people who are deep into red pill. It's kind of where they kind of been introduced to it, and it makes sense. It kind of resonates with them. So they kind of be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But then I'm looking at it from everybody else's perspective. They don't understand it when I explain it to them. But this is the reason why. A lot of times when you're trying to explain something you just learned, people want to see your self-evidence, right? They want to see the proof in the pudding of what you're speaking about. And when you're just throwing out, to them, is just an idea or a theory, right? It's not actuality. You haven't shown them you're off better because of it. So when you're just talking about it and not being about it, people can't fuck with you with it. So you're just like, you do understand it, because you go back to the community and everybody sounds like you. Everybody know the answers to the test, like you like to say. Everybody knows that. But when you go out and you try to talk about that with others that don't have the answers to the test, they're like, yeah, that sounds interesting, but how does that work? How does that look? And then you be like, gosh, damn it, you don't even know what hypergamy is. You don't know what female nature is about. You don't know. And then these guys are looking at you like, well, now you sound like some kind of female hater, man. You sound gay. Like, I don't want to fuck with that. So you know how guys are, man. Like, especially if they can pick out that, like, you know what? Something don't smell right. You know what I'm saying? You don't really, you're not confident with this shit because you're not actually doing this shit. You're just throwing out some theories to me, and it sounds like a female hating group that you're in. I don't really want to fuck with that. That's why you're going to find yourself out there alone because you're trying to talk about something. You're not living. You agree with it, but you're not living it to the point to where you're like, no, you think that's the case, but let me tell you what I'm experiencing. Once you can start talking about what you're experiencing, now it's no longer a theory. Now you have receipts.
Yes.
Like when I talked to you at the beginning, I know there was some times when you was kind of like, oh no, Anthony, I've been doing pretty good.
You know what? If you're kind of ending that in a question mark, I would have to say not very often. But it was just years and years of trust that you and I had built. I knew you very well as a person, and so I knew that you wouldn't sit around and be a hobbyist.
You
with this type
didn't
of
know
shit.
me as a bullshitter.
More specifically, yeah, that's more
Right.
accurate. Yeah.
So, but guys know other guys to be bullshitters, right? Like a lot of time, guys will be talking. You be like, man, this dude always bullshitting, talking about shit. Like we know that guy that always can have a conversation about anything, no matter what the fucking conversation's about. Because apparently, this guy does everything in life that's ever existed. That any experience you can have, this guy's lived it. So we know those type of guys. So anytime we hear a guy just talking out his ass, we just like, oh, okay, man.
More specifically, though, that guy too, but more specifically, the guy who's always talking shit. We've all met this guy. The guy who's always talking shit about women, except when women are around. We've met that guy, right? We've met that guy that's like, what the Key and Peele. And that's when I told her, I said, bitch. And they're saying it's super low because they,
they don't want that bitch to hear him say bitch. Yeah,
they've got this game that they talk when women are not around versus when women are around, and that's you just recently had me go back and listen to an episode that I probably already listened to 5 to 7 times, but it was worth going back. It's the episode of the Black Phillip Show. Do you remember the nomenclature? I can't remember it right now. Where he brings his own girlfriend in.
Oh, 8. Yeah.
Black Phillip Show number 8, guys. Easy to find on YouTube. He brings his girlfriend in. There is a different energy amongst the cast members on that show.
Yeah.
When they see, like, oh, shit, he lives his life like this. This isn't some dude that's just out here talking a bunch of shit about women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can just feel the whole energy. They're like, oh, fuck, Patrice O'Neal really does do this shit. And this is the kind of the nucleus of this segment, guys, is I need to start with the baseline. Nobody wants to get out of bed in the morning, look in the mirror, and go, I'm a bad person. Don't send me your emails, text, chats. I'm a little different. I don't mind being the bad guy. No, the bad guy, it's fun to be the bad guy in spots.
Yeah.
But even when you're the bad guy in spots, you still want to like get up in the morning and be like, in my heart, I'm a good person.
Yeah, even Dr. Evil wanted to be loved.
Right. And guys, the sooner you just internalize this as fact, the easier it is that we're going to be able to walk you to the next step here. Nobody wants to be look in the mirror and be the bad guy. Not the real bad guy. Like Scarface famously calls himself the bad guy. But when it came time to blow up that car, when it came time to blow up that car for that guy that was going to testify against him in court, he saw that there was a child in the car and he didn't blow the car up. Because that character in his heart had a soft spot for children. So even though he called himself the bad guy, he couldn't blow up a kid. And guys, the reason that this is important for you to internalize is because we got to get you to the next step. So if you're a black pill guy right now, and people have called you a chauvinist, they've called you sexist, they've called you all these things, and some of you, and some of you whom I'm very, very fond of, by the way, some of you are like, yeah, I'm an asshole. Yeah, I'm the bad guy. Yeah. And guys, I realize in the moment you don't want to put energy into it, because Anthony and I talked about this in a lot of specifics. In the moment, you don't want to argue with them. Wait, I'm not a chauvinist. You don't want to give that energy. And I get it.
Never.
Yeah, you never want to give that energy, ever. But I want you guys to start understanding that you're not an asshole. You're not a sexist. You're not a chauvinist. Because, guys, you're not going to be able to walk forward and be red pill confident if that's what you think in your heart of hearts. If you think, I'm an asshole, I'm a bad guy, I'm a chauvinist, I'm a sexist, then you're never going to transcend to the next level we want to get you guys to. Because I'm here to tell you that, I'll use my own self as an example. What was it I said on the last podcast? I was complimenting the way that you seduced women. Because you would ask them like these really cool, complex questions. And I responded, I was like, the reason I love that is because it forces women to do something that they don't do a lot, which is think. That's not sexist, guys. We live in a society where women aren't forced to think a lot. It's probably fun for them to think a lot. Guys?
Or have a guy make them think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and whose fault is it that women don't think, everyone?
Ours.
It's ours.
Yeah.
Right? Because, man, if they got that vagina, they ain't got to do a lot, right?
Nope.
Is the society that we've created. They get applauded for just being women. Is the society we created. Men. We created this.
And I'm glad you said that, because we're taking ownership of something that we're not currently doing, right? We're not currently the ones making women think that their sexuality is the only thing they have to offer, or should be able to have to offer to us. But we are taking...
Some might argue we're the real feminists here. No, I'm serious. I mean, we're not patting women on the head. I mean, we're the opposite of feminists. We're not patting women on the head and saying, good job, because you were born with a vagina. We're asking more of them, which is what they say they want to do, right?
Yeah. Until they have to do it, though.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing with women, man. There's always this fucking bouncing ball of ideology of what they think they want until they get it, and then they don't want that shit anymore. He's like, hey, I wanna, you never take me out anymore, and then you take her out. You think she's gonna stop complaining now because you took her out?
And by the way, guys, when I'm talking about how women don't think, she didn't think of that. She saw that in a fucking movie or in a sitcom or something. She saw some other fucking bitch do it, so she's like, hey, he isn't taking me out to a movie in a long time either. I'm gonna go start some shit now.
Right.
See, guys, and if you want to go deeper into societal problems, this is how we see a lot of men arguing these days: is shame someone, put a label on them. You and I were talking. We won't go into it here, but we were doing a deep dive on racism the other day, and one of the things that we said was like, boy, it'd be a lot easier if you just let racist people say racist shit. Because now I know you're racist.
Yeah.
I don't want racists learning, like, how to fucking put on sheep clothing and hang out with all the other non-racists. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things like that. Like, shaming people, and along one of the specific ways you can shame somebody is put a label on them.
Yeah.
Racist, sexist, bigot, Nazi, you're Hitler. Once you just label it, then you don't have to argue ideas anymore.
Right. Right. I don't have to talk about the substance of the topic, because once I tell you you're wrong, I win.
Yeah, once I paint you in a corner and put a label on you.
Yeah, I tell you that you're what can it seemed like you got what we wanted to talk about.
Well, I was just going to say, you had me take this note yesterday while we were on the phone doing some pre-show.
I was trying to jog my memory. I couldn't fucking do it.
And you were like, write that down right now. And fortunately I was at a red light, so I was able to do it. But the quote was, and I said this yesterday, I said, women no longer feel like they have to argue their side. Women's disapproval is enough to think you're wrong.
Exactly.
Because I disapprove.
Exactly.
Then you're wrong. And they'll put any label on it, guys. I need you guys to understand you're not sexist. You're not sexist. Asking more from women is not sexist. Now, if some of you are out there, you know, in the deep state trying to take away the right for women to vote, I would say that's sexist. Critiquing women, calling them on their bullshit, calling them on the massive double standards that they have. Jesus Christ, guys. For all these women that say patriarchy, boy, they're not trying to change any of those divorce laws, though, are they?
No. Not even a little bit.
We've done some stats on this show before about the statistics of the suffering of men. Anthony, is there a higher percentage of men or women that are homeless?
Men.
And isn't it something like in the 80 percentile?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. Men are just disposable in this society. We're just fucking disposable. You can just dispose of us simply by being like, what were you saying? You were hanging out with a friend and the girl was just sighing really loud?
Yeah.
You were just saying something very tame, red pill shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And threatening to leave the table. Bitch, bye.
No shit.
No
Bitch,
one
bye.
No one cares about your fucking I'm offended because I want to be type of shit. Like there's a lot of things that I know that may sound offensive, and I know I can tone down, right? But then there's times, specifically Wesley, when I know it's irritating you because you're used to not being challenged, and so when I see that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna put more pressure on it because I want you to. I did the same thing. I was like, God damn, this shit is good.
So that you guys don't feel like you're on the outside, because it's Thanksgiving week, and I'm traveling to Baltimore for Thanksgiving. I'm not going to see Anthony this year. So, and I'm sorry to get off topic, guys, but we poured a barrel select of Bullet bourbon. That is, it's absolutely to die for, man.
We've been tasting it while we've been doing the show.
Yeah, and we'll just like stop and pause. I'm like, God damn, that is fucking good. And it's better this time too because it's been sitting in that bottle for what, 6 months now.
Yeah, this shit is so good.
So I know that might be the favorite bourbon that I have in my house. That it might be Anthony's favorite.
Oh, that's definitely my favorite.
And so I was like, well, it's a special occasion. It's Thanksgiving, and but so when you hear us reacting. That's what's going on.
Bourbon snobs in the house.
Bourbon snobs in the house.
Yeah. But
getting back to what we're saying, I have a random movie, guys. And if you guys want to talk more about it, let us know in the chat. But I was watching a random movie last night. And we've all seen it. Indecent Proposal. And there was... And I was thinking about this segment about like comparing yourself to others.
Who's the bitch in that movie?
Demi Moore. Oh. Jesus Christ. And her fucking prime, too.
Yeah. Damn.
Good God, in her prime. But Woody Harrelson's character is an architect. And and I was thinking about this, guys, because I was thinking about you guys. Like, when you first kind of get into red pill, you're like, yeah, that's okay. I'm an asshole, bitch. Oh, call me a sexist? I guess I am a sexist. And that's okay, guys. You know, we'll fake it till we make it. But what you guys can't deny is that that's only temporary. It's only temporary to look in the mirror and be the bad guy every morning when you wake up. Eventually, all of us want to get on our purpose and do it and most of us in a positive way. Even the people that are doing shitty stuff, they've got it rationalized in their head, right? Mm-hmm. That they're not the bad guy. They're a good guy. And everybody wants to be bigger than what they are. And Woody Harrelson's character has this quote, and this is from the architect Louis Kahn. And he's holding out a brick. And he says, anybody know what this is? And one of the students in the college is like, it's a brick. He's like, very good, it's a brick. But he gives a quote from Louis Kahn, and he says, Louis Kahn said, even as he's holding this brick, he's also doing a PowerPoint, and he's showing like the Taj Mahal, like all these grand pieces of architecture, but he's holding a single brick in his hand. And he says Louis Kahn argued that even bricks want to be something. Even a common, ordinary brick aspires to be more than it is. And guys, you can't escape this. So walking around life, if you're new to the red pill, doing this self-loathing thing where you're like, man, maybe that person's right. Maybe I am an asshole. You know, and you have these little doubts creeping around. Guys, you're never going to be able to transcend to the level that you need to get to, because I'm here to tell you you're not a sexist for thinking these things or realizing the facts of our society. You're not an asshole. You're looking out for your own happiness.
Right.
And when you have a happiness to an excess, then you can actually make other people happy. And if you're a heterosexual male and that's another woman in an LTR, that's what you have to achieve first. I don't want you guys walking around having this low opinion of yourself, because eventually you're either going to have to slide back to blue pill, or just continue hating yourself, or do some red pill stuff and then a little bit of blue pill stuff and mix it together in a salad. You know, and when you mix blue pill with red pill, I always say, guys, I love salmon. I love ice cream. I don't like salmon in my ice cream. And that's what you get when you mix blue pill and red pill shit. You're getting the worst of both worlds. Now you're just eating a bowl of vanilla ice cream and salmon with salmon in it. You can't mix. You got to pick a lane. And I don't want you guys to regress back to the blue pill. So I want you to look in the mirror and be proud of yourself. And I think that's very, very important, that you shake off a lot of these criticisms. I mean, Anthony, I know you don't look in the mirror and say, "Good morning, sexist."
Nah. Nah.
Good morning, misogynist.
No. You know what? Even in my blue pill days, I didn't think of myself in a negative way, and I was sad, man. And so to be happy, why would I think of myself in a negative way when I'm making myself happy? And the thing is, man, people are selfish because they haven't found something that makes them happy the way they found that you've found yourself to be at peace. And you can be on the road alone. You can take the odd direction or the single viewpoint alone by yourself.
You're talking mainly right now other men, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I just want everybody to know, because I know what you're talking about. I just want to, for our audience benefit.
Okay.
Because we're talking about comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
Because the other gender, they think it's your job to sacrifice your happiness for their happiness.
Right. Society has taught them that that's the exchange, right? And I'm not right. I'm not giving that up. And if you're a smart man, if you care about yourself, and a lot of times a lot of guys don't. They've been taught that they are nothing, that they are expendable, that they are there to promote the woman up to her and make her better, and only she is the one who's supposed to excel in life and be benefited by your presence. No,
or that it's chivalrous to put your happiness aside for others.
Man, I've been in this. Lately, I've been doing this on purpose for some research for the show.
Okay, but you already got me. I'm like, let me move to the edge of my seat.
Because I can do it without. I can trust me, man. I can live without having to deal with women. I can just put women on fucking standby, if you will. But I did a lot of swiping. Okay,
hold on. I'm into this now. Keep going.
Leslie, so
I'm like, man, he's slow rolling this out. He's making. We're all like, okay, what's this research?
I did a lot of swiping, and I'm used to looking at profiles and being like, this is bullshit. But this time, I only swipe based on looks. Okay, I didn't look at the profile. I didn't look at if they match me personality wise, whatever, right? I just swipe based on attractive women to me, right? And in this, and the only reason and only time that I was able to actually see the profile again is if they matched with me. So that's when I was able to read the profile, right? So when I got the matches and I had the conversations, I had to. This is hard to do, guys. So if you think you can do this, I guarantee you this is hard to do. When I say I don't believe what women say, I watch what they do. This was my theory. I say, okay, I don't care what she says in her profile. I want to see how she talks to me and deal with me based on the energy I give her, right? Is she going to respond to my energy and what I provide, or is she going to be who she says she is based on the profile that she wrote? So that was my experiment. I was like, okay, I'm going to give her my energy, and then I'm going to read the profile and see if it matches, right? So in my, time of experiment, I always noticed that the women respond to the energy I gave them and nothing about what their profile said, because a lot of times women are trying to filter out men. They're trying to filter out the weak men. They're trying to filter out men that say that they're looking for something specifically. Women like to tell you that you're not going to get sex from them. You're not going to get all this. They put all these little fucking disclaimers on their fucking profile. A lot of times that shit turn me off and I end up swiping left. But what I end up doing this time was like, okay, I'm just going to give you my energy. See how you respond with that. And
what are some of the reports? Like,
well,
I mean, I can predict what happened.
Yeah.
But we do specifics on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
So a lot of times they'll say best conversation I've had on this app, or you're different. What do you do? Like, they'll get into questions to be more in depth about wanting to know more about me. And I don't like talking about those things because I don't like talking about like what I do and shit like that, especially early on in the conversation, because I feel like it's some kind of like filter processing that they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, I'm not ready to talk about that right now, but I do want to talk about getting to know you outside of what we do in society, right? I just want to know who you are, in your head. So I can get around those questions by saying certain things in certain ways. But when you move around in the dating world, the women that respond to your energy, they were looking for a man to make them move off of what they are saying out loud, right? They want to know that, can you be a man around me and make me be different than how I feel about? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to get your attention.
No, I'm listening.
Can you make me feel different versus what I think about? Because women have a mindset about what they think about men holistically, and then they got their fantasies about the man who they think they deserve, right? And then they're like, the man that they end up with is somewhere in the middle, because they have this unfair bias about who they think they deserve versus who they actually can get. So
right,
they fall somewhere in the middle, and sometimes their mind can get changed because they met a guy who knows how to stay in his frame. It may not be the guy that they think that they would go after, but because you're so domineering and you made them feel something, even if it's being pissed off. I had women that got pissed off at me because I was like, listen, I don't do that shit. Like, oh, you're not gonna talk to me this way. I had one chick, we started talking on the phone, and I told her, I said, hey, you're talking too loud. That bothers me. And so she was like, well, why should it bother you? I talk this way all the time. I said, well, listen, you're talking to a man. Maybe you can talk that loud with women, but for me, that's too aggressive for me. I said, if that's how you talk, that's fine. I'll say good luck to you.
Maybe we're not a match.
Yeah, I'll say good luck to you. And then she was like, well, I can talk lower. So then she started to talk lower, right? So is that me being an asshole?
Actually, it's the opposite.
Exactly.
It's you being far kinder than I would be. Because, see, you and I, as the same as we are, we're so polar opposite on other shit. I wouldn't have given a woman the benefit of telling her this. She just doesn't get a call back. You're actually, and again, man, but you're still out dating. And I know you do a lot of shit for the benefit of experimenting, like you were just describing. I almost feel like you were doing that partly because you wanted to see what her reaction was going to be.
Well,
and it makes the show way better.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah,
because we get the story here. But I mean, it's to me, it's the opposite of being an asshole because you're giving her the benefit of like, look, instead of being king cutoff here, I'm trying to grow as a person.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Because that's the reason I did hang in that long because loud talking women is a complete turnoff for me.
Me and you both.
So
God, dude. Ugh.
So I would have never given her the time of day normally. But like I said, I'm saying, okay, I'm about shifting their energy. So can I do it without reading bios and doing all this shit? Because I was telling one of the listeners to the show about it in the Discord that now to save time on swipes, all I do is swipe on the attractive women that I would date. I don't care about the bios anymore. I just swipe right on what I like. And if I don't even scroll down look for extra photos. If your first photo is not attractive, I'm not going to waste time to look at it.
Or if it's a group photo.
Yeah.
Stop with your group photos, ladies.
Group photos, a photo that's not you, a photo with a man in it, I'm swiping left. I'm swiping left. So there's no
but it's my dad. I can't take a photo with my shut up, bitch.
Am I trying to date your dad, bitch? Like, is he gonna be on dates with us? Is he paying for our dinner? Then I'll fucking swipe right on you. If you say, hey, dad's on the photo with me because he's paying for our first date. Cool.
You know what? What a cool dad. Dad is great. He paid for all our dates. Yeah, I'm just like, no, man, that's the opposite.
No, and that's the thing. I think guys think that because you take strong stances with women, you're being an asshole, or you'll allow women to call you an asshole, or even your own friends to call you an asshole. Appreciate you.
And see, that's the thing, guys. When when people call me a sexist, I have a daughter. Other than my wife, that's the most important person in my life. And I'm very deliberate that I always make my wife first, because this kid's gonna fucking move out on me one day. You know, if you're in a long-term relationship, your partner's always got to come first. Don't fucking send me your emails. My kids come first. My kids. Yeah, okay. You're probably a single mom. Your kids came first. That's why you're fucking divorced. No, I put my partner first, but it's different. You guys can understand what I mean if you have children. She's the most important thing in my life. And I'm just like with this red pill stuff, I'm very, very deliberate about how I bring her up. And here's why. What Anthony's talking about over here is women, when you're a kid, you want to have marshmallows and chocolate bars for every meal, don't you?
Yeah.
If you let kids decide what the fuck they're going to eat, that's what breakfast, lunch, dinner would look like. But eventually, adults mature to go, oh, even though this tastes really good in my mouth right now, I can't fucking have this for every meal. I've got to be deliberate. If I want to be a healthy human, I've got to do this shit. Understand, guys, Most women never graduate to that level, mature-wise. They want every fucking part of their life with a man to be candy. They don't ever want that fucking high-protein meal. Well, I guess we could take that a bunch of different directions, but I won't. They don't ever want that healthy, high-protein, just as many carbohydrates as blah, blah, because that's not pleasurable as having candy and ice cream. Most women, guys, especially single women, because the women like my wife that understand this kind of shit, they get gobbled up by alpha motherfuckers like me. But a lot of these single women, especially single older women, this is how the fuck they act.
They're old and single for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, this is how the fuck they act. And it's and guys, I'm not saying this to shit on women. I'm saying this because Anthony brought up a good fucking point there. All these women in their fucking dating profiles, they think they're about this and they think they're about that, and my kids come first and blah. Anthony's taking a different approach where he's like, all these bitches are stupid anyway. I'm not going to look at this profile. I'm going to be the leading energy. Sorry, man. Something funny in the chat there. But Anthony's taken and Anthony, I really like this approach, by the way. You're taking the approach of, I'm going to be the leading energy.
Yep.
I'm going to lead the direction of where the fuck this is going. This ain't no 50-50 bullshit. When you're in my space, I'm in charge. I'm leading this. And guess what? Guess what, ladies? When you're dating Anthony, you're probably going to learn more about a well-balanced diet than fucking having cotton candy for breakfast and Cocoa Puffs for lunch and fucking Neapolitan ice cream for dinner. Like, you might learn some shit.
Oh, white syrup with...
Well, hold on. That's why I'm kind of fascinated by this, because this is kind of what you're learning. You're like, nah, bitch, you don't like I am with my daughter. I'm like, nah, bitch, you don't get to decide what the fuck you're eating. Daddy decides what the fuck we're eating. And so are the results pretty good, or? Because this theory makes a lot of sense to me, by the way.
Well, for me, it's less time on the apps, because and the reason I was doing the app thing because COVID, but at the same time it is gonna help. My experiences will help you guys, so I'm willing to go through whatever rigmarole I have to go through to help you guys. And let you say, I put a Joe Biden word, huh? Malarkey.
That's malarkey.
But no, I'm willing to go through a little, because I mean, if I get lucky and find a good chick in this process, cool. She may turn into a rotation, but I don't care about the result of what happened, but the information I'm gathering, the information I'm gathering is very crucial to me, because now when I go forward in this again, I have so much available information to me, and it gives me more confidence to just be who the fuck I am, because that'll get me the result I want anyway, and I don't have to worry about what the fuck they think they want up front, because I'm gonna change that, even if they think that what they want is coming to fruition within the text, and then you'll be slighted in your own head, thinking that, oh, I gotta approach her differently based on what she said in her profile, right? Or what her job is, or where she live, or the photos that you saw that she make you think that she's make you think that she's beyond your approach. So I want you guys to just say, hey, if the first photo's what I like, swipe right, you get a match, and you say, okay, let's go. You're gonna get my energy, and force her to respond to you. Don't have to play a role into what she says she wants from a guy in this dating world right now.
You know, I wrote down something you said. You said in the past, you said this. You would look at a profile and say, "This profile's bullshit," and you would swipe left. Mm-hmm. But I wrote down something. Aren't all profiles bullshit though? Yeah, because we've all seen that. We've all seen that dumb bitch, this hot dime piece, you know, wearing skin tight clothes, and somebody asks
hookups,
her, no hookups,
no sex. Yeah,
but they also, especially if they're around women, they'll say this crazy shit that is the answers. Like you always call it the answers to the test. And by the way, I love that term. They'll say the answers to the test, and the answer to the test is, this is what an answer to the test is not in woman world. What kind of man do you like? I want a guy that looks like Chris Hemsworth and has just as much money as Bill Gates.
Damn.
But that's what they want. But then they do this rigmarole so that they sound more interesting as women to other women. They'll do this whole rigmarole like, what kind of guys do you like? I don't know. I just, I'm really into guys that are like nerds, and I don't know, that are like funny, and just, I don't know. I'm kind of a gamer, so I'm like, I want a guy that's definitely a gamer, loves computers. I don't know. I'm into nerdy guys. Then Chris Hemsworth really walks in the room, and she's got to change her panties.
All that shit goes out the window.
All that shit. So that's kind of the same thing with dating apps, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought of it like that, but it's so true. Why? They might as well just be typing nonsense letters. I mean, it might as well be written in fucking Chinese. Because it's to your point, when you come with your energy, it all changes, right? When Chris Hemsworth walks in the room, these bitches throw all that nerd shit out the window, don't they?
Yeah, because even what I say on my profile doesn't really get read until after we match or they find me interesting within conversation. Then they'll go into my profile and then be like, oh, you do, or you like, and then, or you've been, and then they get into that. But I think the profile kind of gives someone a second insight into you after they are engaged with you. So that's what I think I will use it as a second insight and not an initial insight. Because if I see something interesting in them that they haven't talked about, that's also letting me know something about them. That, this is a humble bitch. You know what I'm saying? But when you talk to people in the beginning, like when we meet people on the street or out in the real world, these bitches don't out here talking about. They don't introduce themselves talking about the shit they say in their profile.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
So why would you take a different approach than what you would in person? If I like you on the street, I'm gonna come talk to you. I don't know nothing about you, so I'm just gonna bring the energy who I am to you, and then find out about you that way.
And let me support your point by saying this. When I hear some of my wife was married before, so was I, by the way. She was with this person for 14 years. When I hear some of the stories, now, mind you, I also get a more mature version of my wife. So factor that in. We can all, Jesus Christ. The outside noises in this podcast.
Yes, it's crazy.
I'm like, is that like, what is in that back? And it's my daughter playing with a toy. I'm not going to interrupt the podcast to go tell her she can't play with toys. I'm not that heartless. But it's one of those things where, I don't know, before I even go into this, I want to ask you a sincere question. Do you enjoy the seduction phase? I mean, do you just really sit back and really revel this cat and mouse game of seduction?
Yeah.
I can tell. Seduction for me was almost kind of like a chore. It was almost kind of like a chore for me. It was something I knew I had to do.
It's like a battle of wits, though. Like, I like to see me overcome like the walls bitches build up, and I like to be able to knock them down, and you know what though too, seduction also does for me when I'm overcoming things that women think that like these walls that they put up. When I take these walls down and I let them know that, hey, these walls that you're putting up, right? These are like self-preserving barriers that you feel that these are protecting you, right? But from the aspect of what though? Is this going to be something that going to keep you from getting hurt ever again?
Probably not. Probably
no,
not.
It's not. But
just kind of makes you an asshole.
This is my inner mind, right? This is not me talking to them, and I hate to have to point this shit out.
Well, we sometimes have to point out that this show is mainly inner dialogue.
Yes,
you don't say any of this shit to bitches.
No, I'm learning that we have to say this out loud to on this show, so guys don't misinterpret that we're saying these things out loud to women. But my inner dialect is about like, all right, all these fucking walls you put up, and like this is a first date, and I've trampled all over them. What are you actually protecting, right? And a lot of times they're hiding like they host side, right? They're hiding this sexuality that they feel like they gotta not show the world because for whatever reason, ABC. And for me, I laugh at it because it's like, okay, you know, you're actually not being who you really are to pretend that you're more valuable, right? And so if I find out that you're not as valuable as you're trying to pretend to be, like these wholesome pretenders like to do. Shout out to ARC,
which is 99% of them too.
So when I find that out, like what is your true value now that I know that you just a hoe in hiding, right?
Right.
So I'm still gonna fuck you, right? I'm still gonna like penetrate you and move on by my business. So what did you actually accomplish? That's my inner dialogue. But, you know, I still play the game. I still go through the you know, the what do you call it? Going through the motions. So I just go through the motions with this, and then, you know, we do what we do.
Yeah, but you know, you're this is a rare, I'm sorry, not a rare fact, but this is a fact a lot of people don't know, that the common house cat is one of the only mammals that, and they've done studies on like the dopamine in their head, like of a mammal when you enjoy something. Once like it'd be, if you watch me watching the Houston Texans when Deshaun Watson does his badass shit, you can see in my brain that there's this happy moment. Or when I hear Deshaun Watson talking about football, like his football IQ just makes me happy. I'm like, oh my fuck. God damn it, this guy fucking has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know in my whole life. It's because he's a fucking genius. But you can study, physically, you can study when a mammal is happy and joyous. And they've discovered that the common house cat is one of the only mammals that gets happy and joyous when it's killing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why you'll see these cats they just won't kill it right away. They'll fuck with it and play with it.
Yeah.
And just enjoy killing this creature. See, most mammals, they're like, I got to kill this creature because I got to fucking eat. I don't want to starve to death. That's me with seduction. I'm like, well, this is part of the fucking game.
Well, this is like this part of the process.
Don't want to starve out. Don't want to starve out.
Wesley used to be the guy. Wesley was like, man, I want to go back to the day when you just knock bitch out and just drag her back home.
Yeah, that's what I want to go back to.
Hey, Wesley's like, hey, you got to drag her by her hair, because if you drag her by her feet, you know, the pussy get all fucked up with the dirt.
Yeah, get some gravel in it and shit. Yeah. But You with seduction, you're more like the cat. Like, you really do enjoy this.
I like dissecting
this
bitches.
chess match.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I don't know. I find it impressive because you sit around and do deliberate shit where you'll come up with phrases and because you specifically will bring them out on this show. You'll be like, you know what? When I do this, I'll specifically say, and it's just this open-ended thing that, as I've said famously, it forces women to do something they rarely do, which is think. And that's probably pleasurable for women too, and that kind of gets them in the cat and mouse game. I don't know. I admire that about you, that you really, really enjoy this process. You know, there's things that I enjoy the end result. Like if I'm doing construction work, you know, if I'm like, we built that storage building together, you and I enjoy that it's there. And I'm going to really enjoy when it has siding on it and it matches my house and shit. But while I'm doing it, I don't really enjoy it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how you are with seduction. You actually enjoy the process. And I envy you because I wish I was more like that.
Well, I mean, because I like to study. Like that's rare. People don't like to study, right?
Yeah.
I do like to study because I like to see if things have consistent outcomes to them. And dating can be consistent, but that's if you do everything the same. And just like I do with cooking, I like to try out different ingredients, techniques, and flavors. You know, because
because when you enjoy something, you're going to put all this different effort into it.
Yeah.
The reason I lit up when you said that, because I too enjoy cooking. The reason I enjoy cooking is because I used to work in restaurants where you had to cook 100 miles an hour. So when I'm cooking at home and I don't have to do that,
right,
and I can put all this deliberate effort into it to make it really good. Like I said, it's like me listening to Deshaun Watson talk about football. It gets me fucking excited and shit. I just don't have that same thing with seduction.
Like when we made those mashed potatoes and you was able to chop that rosemary so fine.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the best mashed potatoes ever, man.
God. And I try not to leave any cliffhangers, but I was talking about earlier, and the reason that I like this, about you being like, fuck this fucking dumb bitch's profile. I show up, I'll give my energy. And I started to say this earlier. I made sure to write it down so I didn't go down a road and not finish it. I was talking about my wife. She was with the same guy for 14 years. And guys, don't get me wrong. My wife's great. I would, if you think your wife is great out there, or your LTR girlfriend is great out there, I could tell you some shit my wife does that would just be like, oh fuck, my girl don't do anything like that. My wife's fucking awesome. Okay? But sometimes you'll forget Anthony's point. My wife's not awesome because she's awesome. She's awesome because of how I show up and I unlock her best side.
Facts.
I unlock her best side. She was with a dude for 14 years. I hear some of the past stories of some of the shit she used to pull. I mean, what the fuck? Is this a different person? Because she would never do shit like that to me.
You started looking at her different, like, wait, what?
Well, you know,
bitch, I dare you to fucking pull that on me.
Well, and honestly, I don't even worry because it's one of those like, well, bitch, you know, that shit ain't gonna go around here. But it doesn't make me, guys, getting back to the nucleus of our segment. That doesn't make me shitty to my wife. Me saying this, my wife gets frustrated with other women. She's like, why do women want it to be equal? Don't they want to have a strong man protect them physically? Look out for their best interests? Don't they want to be led by their men? And again, guys, most women will write my wife off as like, she's subservient because she's Asian. She's subservient. Dude, I promise you guys, my wife is a oral surgeon assistant who does a lot of part of the surgery. Don't send me your emails. My wife is probably smarter than yours. Okay? And again, talk about being passionate. She is fucking passionate about oral surgery. She sits around and fucking just reads books about the shit in her spare time and shit. She should have been an oral surgeon, but she grew up in a poor home. But my wife is probably smarter than yours. She probably does way more shit around the house than yours. She probably sucks way more dick than your chick does. Promise. Right. This is me having a rare moment where I'm just on the show bragging about my chick.
By the choke on my bourbon when you said it.
But it's one of those things. My wife is probably better than yours. So don't hit me with your emails about like, oh, she's probably just subservient because she's Asian and blah, blah, blah. No, she probably does everything better and does way more than your chick. But my wife will sit here and admit to you that she likes how I am. She likes that I'm alpha. She likes that I'm the leader. She likes that I have to be the leader because it makes her feel safe. It makes her feel safe in life, and it doesn't make me sexist. And guys, it doesn't make you sexist either.
Funny how being all man is a turn on.
Well, and to your point with this experiment you're doing, even though they won't admit it aloud like my wife does, even though they won't admit it aloud, they react to it is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah. Because it's different, right? Guys have this, most guys, let's just say that. Most guys have a mindset that if they're asking a woman out, that they have to prove to this woman that they're worthy.
Or just, let's use a simpler, when men, just one word, men feel like when they ask women out, they have to perform.
Well, there is a burden of performance that we have to perform.
Well, you know what? You're right. That's not a good word because there is a burden of performance. And shout out to Rollo Tomasi. That's a red pill term, so we can't use that. But yeah. I guess we could say tap dance. They feel like they got to tap dance.
Well, I'll say this. Where there's a front that they think we have to play. Like, or guys think that there's a front you got to put up. If you're not wealthy and you can't afford luxury dinners at these awesome fucking restaurants out here, and you're trying to impress a chick because you want a second date or you want some ass, then from a woman's perspective, she was like, oh, wow, I've never been to this place before, or I've never experienced this before.
Oh. Boy, this sounds very hypothetical. Women being grateful?
Well, no. Listen.
I'm just kidding.
No, listen what I'm about to say, because it's going to show their true nature. I've never done this before. I've never experienced this before, but he thinks I deserve it.
Oh.
So now...
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. That's a very good point.
So now that he thinks I deserve it, I must be worth it, right?
And this is only date one.
Date one.
We're only moving up from here, right?
Yes, exactly. That's why I tell guys, man, don't you ever impress a bitch on date one. Don't impress a bitch on the first 3 dates. When she means something to you, what we talked about, girlfriends and wives.
Yep.
That's the only ones that you're out here.
Gifts.
Yep. Because to me, if you don't enjoy luxury dinners and shit like that, don't ever take a girl out on one. Don't ever take her to one.
Are you specifically talking about me, by the way? Because you know I hate luxury restaurants. Because I worked in restaurants so long that I know that there's nothing really special going on.
No, not at all.
Kitchen.
I wouldn't tell you that. I'm saying as a
no. I thought you were specifically pointing it out.
No.
I'm like, well, Anthony, you kind of got me pegged there.
I wouldn't take, and because of this is the thing too. I know I hate going to luxury restaurants because when I'm eating, typically I can make it home
and might make it better.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you love to cook like we do.
And it'll be cheaper. And it'll be...
I can't wrap my mind around the expense. Like I said, man, luxury dinners, and all you first daters that take these bitches out to luxury dinners that only girlfriends and wives should be going on. It's like, dude, let me tell you from a guy that worked in the industry, and don't text me. I didn't work in a nice place. Motherfucker, you ever heard of Cafe Annie? I've been in that kitchen too. I've worked in it. There ain't nothing special going on in that kitchen, man. Nothing. I mean, the ingredients might be really expensive, but you can buy those. This is one of those scams like Louis Vuitton. It's a scam to get rich people's money. Louis Vuitton, there ain't nothing special about that goddamn purse. There ain't a goddamn things.
Nah, nothing at all. That's a status. That's a status situation when you talking about Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, and we just had somebody in the chat saying elaborate a little bit on not treating them like they're special. Guys, I'm glad they brought that up, because here's the thing. You and I, we haven't thought like that in so long. It's kind of hard for us to go back, isn't it?
It's one of those things where because we've talked about this in previous podcasts before. When I ask you out on a date as a man, I'm asking you to come experience me.
But that's so simple to us, isn't it? So it's been so long since we thought this other blue pill way. I mean, I don't even know. I'm almost wondering, when I was blue pill, did I think like this too? Like, you got to experience me? I don't know, because
no,
I was never taking a bitch to like a nice French restaurant on a first date.
Well, think about it. Think about the investment you can put into one stranger, right? Let's think about this.
That's so well said. One stranger.
Let's think about this as men. Let's think about this as men, okay? You're putting the investment into one stranger. Nothing's guaranteed, right? You can't guarantee shit.
She's already told you in her dating profile, I ain't sleeping with you on a first date.
She ain't touchy-feely, right? So, you going into this date with a stranger, you develop and when I mean by impress, and based on the word he used, impress, when I say impress, that means that you're saying, you know what? This is special. But this bitch is a stranger. Why would I do anything special for a stranger I don't know? I don't have any idea what it's going to be. It's only a fantasy in my head on what I want it to be.
So let me since that's what this segment is about believing in yourself, not comparing yourself to others. Let's tell them what the shaming tactic is there. What you just specifically said. This is what you're going to hear, guys. Oh, so all you want from me is sex? All you want from me is sex? That's all you want? Yes. Look in the mirror, guys. You're not an evil person. You're not a villain in this movie. Yes, in the beginning, all you want is sex. And that's okay. You don't know this bitch. To Anthony's point, she's a fucking stranger. You're not sexist because you or a chauvinist or a player. Whatever the fuck these women want to call you when they shame you. That's not what you are. In the beginning, you just saw, to Anthony's point on the dating app, you saw an attractive bitch. Let's see how it goes.
Facts.
And what were you saying on the way over, Anthony? You were saying, and while I'm hanging out with you, seducing you, as Anthony likes to do, maybe I kind of get stuck on you a little bit. We'll see what fucking happens. But yes, it doesn't make me an evil person to just want to be fucking you in the beginning. Because then, 5 years from now, you are attached. You are in love. You can't get that on the first fucking date. And if you could, it wouldn't mean shit.
No.
If being with somebody for 5 years. I mean, when you hear someone has a wedding anniversary of 50 years, you're like, God damn, that kind of floors me. Like, oh shit, y'all still together?
Yeah.
That's a major accomplishment. Bitch, you don't get that on the first fucking date. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it, dude. It's just like, now, again, guys, this is inner dialogue. You don't tell a bitch, yeah, it's date one. Right now, all I want to do is fuck you. Man, because that's not seduction, right, Anthony?
No, that's not seduction at all. A woman has to feel like she had that you didn't know that's what you was trying to do, and that you didn't know what she would do. Like if she knew, if she could process what's going on in your head, if she knew what you was wearing, you knew that you was trying to seduce her by your cologne, you was trying to seduce her by your clothes, you was trying to seduce her by the place you took her, the places, if you've been listening to this podcast long enough, the places you have taken her was all a big fucking plan to get her to drop them panties. At the end of the night, she would say no to the date altogether.
When you walk into a grocery store, you don't have to, like, hey, can I talk to the manager real quick? Yeah, send him over. Hey, look, I want to come across shady. When I walked in here, I'm looking to buy some groceries. Look, I just don't, I want to come correct. I don't want to beat around the bush. When I walked in, I wasn't here to get to know the cashiers.
But see, this is the biggest
I'm
difference.
here to buy groceries.
It's the biggest difference between men and women. If a woman told us straight up that, listen, when I got on this date on you, when I accepted this date from you, I was looking to fuck, right?
Right.
We would say, oh, but see, this is the thing though. She wanted you to go through the dance. She wanted you to pick her up, take her out, go through the seduction, get her a drink, convince her to come over, convince her to make out, and that, hey, nothing's wrong. We're still safe. You can still leave if you want. Well, let's get in this bed and fuck up some sheets, right? She wanted you to go through that whole process. But if a woman told you, a man, straight up that, hey, I just want to fuck. Now, the woman says, yes, I just want to fuck, but she still want to go through the process of all the date shit. But a man is like, if you just wanted to fuck, you should have just came over here where the bed that we was going to fuck in is right here. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that food and going out and all that shit. Men is like, hey, if you want to fuck, just bring your ass over here then. But a woman wants to go through the fucking process.
Well, the other thing is, too, when a woman comes on a date and says, I just want to fuck, she is perfectly aligned with what you want. Mm-hmm. So if a man wanted to just be very verbose and be very forward, and he just comes out on the first date and says, hey, look, I just want to be very forward. I'm very rich. I want to spend a shit ton of fucking money on you. I don't want you to have to pay your bills ever again. And, we would be a couple and you'll feel very safe and secure, maybe have a couple children.
She would reject that. A woman would reject that.
I don't know, because it perfectly aligns with probably what the fuck she wants.
I don't
know what the percentages are. I think half or more would probably be dope with it.
I'll say that, yeah. But if you're talking about like one single woman, now a hood rat would take that hands down. Let's stick to women that's like have some.
Well, remember what I said though. I'm rich in this hypothetical.
Yeah,
I'm rich.
So you're picking the top of the litter at this point, though. You're not.
Yeah, and you're just like, hey, I just want a bitch I can marry. I want to spend a lot of money on her. Because when you say, you can be very forward when you're aligned perfectly with what the fuck they want. Because what the fuck we want is we've seen an attractive female and we want to fuck them. But there's many guys out there, Anthony. There's many guys that we know in the red pill community that look in the mirror and they're like, I can't believe that I took her out on a date and it wasn't just to get to know her and learn about her dreams and learn about what she wants in her life in 5 years. And
let's rewind what you said though. You said you're saying you're gonna be the richest guy. Well, not the richest guy. You're gonna have to be the richest guy to be rich, but you're gonna be rich. You got the pick of the litter. You really wouldn't say that because then you're giving up leverage, right?
Oh, no. I'm just talking about there's not a lot of women either that just go, I just want to fuck, but I just want to go through the whole dating process. I mean, that's a big hypothetical. You're right. Most men that have a lot of money, and to your point, Anthony, you've said this many times on the podcast before. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're alpha.
Right.
Right. And in this scenario, this gentleman's very alpha, and he's just he's aligning what he wants perfectly aligns with hers.
Okay,
then you can be more forward. Is all I'm saying.
I think this though, like a guy that's with money like that
doesn't do that. So it's
right.
a crazy hypothetical.
Right,
yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was just trying to make the point that when a woman says I want to fuck, she's perfectly aligning with what the guy wants. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because I've been around men who don't really have money like that, but will have enough money to splurge, but not enough money to just.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they will come at women that way, like, "Hey, I just want to take care of you, this and that." But that bitch is like, what she hears is, "I don't have to ever work again."
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever I want, he's gonna get me. Like that's what she hears.
Yeah.
But what he's actually saying is, look, I'm willing to splurge on you and give you shit.
But bitch, I need some pussy.
Facts. Facts. But at the same time, he don't just want no lazy bitch either. He don't want to just be sitting around and like having a bitch be like, well, since you taking care of me, I ain't got to do nothing. And, if you wanted to eat, you would just buy a shelf, right? Like, why you waiting on me to cook? Like, why are you asking me for shit? Like, that's how women respond versus to what we will, like,
right.
So what we're saying doesn't compute the same way what they hear.
Right.
So we gotta be very specific, and that's and then if you're
I can't believe a guy would do that because that's such a player thing to do. Whatever fucking way they want to shame, Or you're right. I know our listeners are automatically going because again we rationalize everything in our head, right?
Yeah.
So our listeners that are not super rich, they want to believe all rich guys are beta because it gives them an edge over the rich guys, right? We always rationalize things in our head. If you're not a rich guy and I bring up a rich guy, you're like, well, he's got more money than me. I can't argue with that. I'm not a millionaire. But
what's
let me find a flaw. He's beta.
Yeah,
he's beta. Yeah, No, there's rich guys that are alpha too.
Yeah. I was about to say it's easier for them to be alpha because they take away a lot of insecurities being rich.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How many insecurities can you take away being rich as a man?
And what a lot of our listeners don't understand is there's men that are alpha that don't know anything about any of this red pill shit.
Right.
This is just how the fuck they were born. Facts, right? I mean, as you always say, facts.
Yeah. You don't have to be poor or rich to be alpha.
You don't have to read all of Rollo Tomasi's book to be an alpha male.
Facts. Yep.
Yeah,
no
some motherfuckers are just motherfucking born that way.
Now
I've met them.
Self-conscious about saying facts.
Well, I feel like it's one of the highlights of this show. Whenever I say something and I get a facts reference from you, I'm like, oh, right. It's like we get a gold star on the podcast. But that's the nucleus of what we're talking about, guys, is when you're out in the world. Because, guys, if you're red pill raging right now, if you're black pill right now, and you're just feeling guilty about who the fuck you are, that's a short game, guys. It's not a long game. That's not a long game. Eventually, you're going to have to look in the mirror and be proud about the path that you're on. And as Anthony has pointed out to some of our listeners specifically, but just in general, it's impossible to compare yourself to others. When we're talking about all these specific, deliberate fucking things that we're doing, it's impossible unless, and we're not suggesting getting an echo chamber here, but unless you're doing what you and I were doing. Now, you and I were talking on the phone earlier this week. And you were just like, God damn, it was such a good feeling when you started coming over to the red pill side, Wesley, because I finally fucking had somebody to talk to about this shit. I wasn't fucking alone.
Yeah.
It's hard, right? When you're alone out there doing this shit, everybody's up. Here comes old chauvinist Anthony. Here he comes again. Woman hater. You know, and you almost kind of feel like you're just in a room in solitary, right? Until you have like a community you can talk in. And, but see, that's why I was able to like go up the ladder very quickly, because you and I were talking about this like every fucking day.
Well, it gives you a better insight of the steps to take when you're like living it, because we wasn't just talking about it. You were like out there. Okay, I'm gonna go do some red pill shit, and I went out there and did it. All right, let's talk about what happened. And then you're just like, okay, you should have probably did this or said that. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then guess what? You already got dates set up, so you can go do this shit right the fuck away.
I'm not just practicing on one bitch. Like, oh, I messed up with her, but let me go back in and try to tinker and fix it. No, I got dates lined up. So this mistake I made over on this bitch, it may kill the whole situation. It may not. Who knows? But I've got other dates lined up. Right?
Can you go through like a compare and contrast about the way you used to date before red pill and after red pill?
Wow, man. I mean, one of the things that I would say was the biggest difference was it after red pill. It was like I was a surgeon, and you know, a surgeon's very deliberate. He's got his staff with him. He's got these really specific tools, scalpel. Mm-hmm. You know, like very deliberate about, because motherfucker, you can't fuck this shit up. Somebody's gonna fucking die. You know, you can't just show up and wing it. But Blue Pill Wesley, that's what the fuck he did. It was like I was showing up to a sports stadium, and I had to like bring all my sports equipment because I didn't even know what sports we were playing that day. Like, could be softball, could be badminton. I don't fucking know.
So you was placating to the bitch.
Oh my God. Well, see, for some reason, I guess because I just have a different kind of energy, I was always doing things I like to do. I was never doing like these French dinners or something. So kind of like how we said, some guys are just born with a little bit of alpha in them. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know what it was. I've never did the let me impress this bitch dating. And I'm talking about I didn't even do it in high school. I was just like, come join me while I do this shit. Was kind of the way I rolled out.
So what was the blue pill part of you then?
I'm sorry. There was one time where I was like trying to impress a chick, and it was after my marriage, and I was like, oh my God, I was sweating before the date. And this is a bitch I already slept with. And I called my brother. I was all nervous. It was the first date that I went on after I got married. You know this person. They live in Austin.
Oh, okay.
And I took her to Eddie V's.
Damn.
On the first date. That wasn't the only place we went. We went to like 4 other places. We went to this, if you're familiar with absinthe, the liquor that's technically illegal.
Oh, shit, yeah.
We went to an absinthe bar.
Yo ass.
Oh, I was like rolling out the
red
carpet for this
You was
dumb,
working with me
bitch.
at the time then.
Yeah.
We were co-workers.
Yes, we were co-workers at the time. And I was rolling out the red carpet for this dumb, crazy bitch. And it was because I felt so awkward dating because I'd been married and in a relationship.
You thought you was doing what you thought you had to do.
Yeah. And before that, I was just kind of, hey man, let's just go have some fucking fun. And I know what's fun. Trust me. And like I said, it was all accidental though. I was accidentally doing the right thing. Like, hey, trust me. I work in restaurants. I know what's fucking cool. I know what's good to eat. And I know all the like the back doors in. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, what do you want to do? I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm in the mood for chicken fingers. You won't believe this. I know you won't believe this. The greatest chicken fingers on planet Earth are at Papado. And it's like, I just knew that. But nobody ever would order chicken fingers at Papado.
Those are great fucking chicken fingers, though.
And their honey mustard is amazing. But see, because I worked in restaurants, I kind of had the hacks. So I'm now taking them to Papado to get literally the cheapest thing on the menu.
Yeah.
But when you put it in your mouth and taste it, you're like, holy fuck, that's amazing.
Hey, chicken fingers at Papado, though. That shit is good as fuck, bro.
I would be like...
And you can get them grilled.
Yeah. Yeah, but that batter that they have them, it's if you guys ever come to Houston, Papado chicken fingers, and I love you, Canes. I see you, Canes. Your chicken fingers are legit, but
it ain't got the seasoning. It ain't got the seasoning,
and they don't have that honey mustard that Papado has that they make in house with their own recipe. But I was kind of more like that, Anthony. I was kind of more like, I know what's good. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? Because I worked in restaurants and shit, so I guess I accidentally was doing the right thing. But man, and you were the one that put me out on the carpet. You were like, so what are you doing tonight on this date? And I would come to you sometimes. You remember this shit. I mean, I don't know. We'll go down to City Center, and there's walking places within walking distances. Well, I'll wing it. And during, like, when I was getting into red pill shit, you were like, don't do that. You'll take her over. You don't know what the fuck you're walking into. I was way, way more surgical. I would never take a bitch to a place after I became red pill. I would never take a bitch to a place that I had never been to myself.
No,
I was not going to walk in there like, what the fuck? Oh, speaking of which,
sweating at the prices. God damn.
Oh, you beat me to it. That person that I took to Eddie V's, I went and I was like, and again, Wesley's nervous. He's trying to impress this dumb, crazy bitch. And I ordered cake bread Chardonnay.
Damn.
And, well, I love cake bread Chardonnay. I love cake bread Cabernet. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she ordered a glass, and this dumb bitch drank a lot. But, so we ended up drinking, but while we're waiting for our table, we ended up drinking, between the two of us, 4 glasses. You're alluding to it. I didn't realize that each glass was $19 a piece. I'm not even at dinner yet, and I got 19 times 4. Close out the bar tab. Did we have an appetizer while we're waiting on the table? Yes.
Yeah. I was like, bitch, it's time to go. We've been here too long.
I'm not kidding. Dude. So I'd never been to Eddie V's in my life.
Okay.
She suggested the place.
Of
course. Right?
Yeah.
So she suggests the place. So I go there. And again, it's the same thing. I haven't done my proper forward intelligence on this, right? And I just show up and I go, oh my God. I got the bill and I was like, oh my God, dude. And I'm talking to the bartender. I go, oh my God, she's already gone to the table. I'm like, hey, I didn't lose my cool. I saw the tab and I quickly closed it. And I was like, hey, let me handle this. Why don't you head on over to the table there, little lady. There you go. As soon as she's out of earshot, I pull the bartender over. Oh my God, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I go, oh my God, dude. He goes, what? And I go, dude, you did not tell me that cake bread Chardonnay was $19 a piece. And he's like, well, like any bartender would do. Like, well, figure it out. I don't know. Like, and I go, dude. And I'm like, I'm visibly sweating, and I'm wiping the sweat off my forehead. And I go, dude, this is the first date I've been on in like 8 years. I don't know. He's like, hey, calm down. He goes and comps 2 glasses off for me.
Wow.
Bro, that's like a $40 swing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so he was very fucking cool. I tipped him accordingly.
Yeah.
I tipped him percentage of what the tab was before. But he had 2 glasses comped and saved my life that night. Because like I said, man, 4 glasses at 19.
That's $80, bruh.
And then you got the appetizer.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I would never, when I turned red pill, I would never fucking take a bitch to a place that I hadn't scouted out ahead of time.
And see, this, man, I'm glad you told this story, man. Fuck. Because next time a bitch tell you she want to go to Eddie V's, you like, hell nah. I don't know you like that, bitch.
Well, it's what can you admit? I mean, can you just say to our listeners, Eddie V's is a place for wives and girlfriends only?
Only.
100%.
Only.
And Eddie V's, shout out. Your food is legit.
Yes,
I had
it
a
is.
Great time that
Yes,
night.
Eddie V's is legit.
But Eddie V's that's not even an 8th date.
Nope.
That's wives and girlfriends only, baby.
Facts. Because it's no fucking way a bitch that don't know me or barely knows me is gonna get Eddie V's. And if that's what if that's how she wanna live her life, go for it.
It's just not how I live my life.
So
my wife has given me a child and it's never been to Eddie V's, Anthony. Seriously. Like I'm feeling guilty right now. I'm like, my wife made a child for me. I should at least take her to Eddie V's, not this dumb crazy bitch from the past. Jesus.
Listen, man. My ex-wife, bro. My ex-wife. This chat blowing up right now. My ex-wife had, I want to say, maybe our third date. She took me to because she lived in San Antonio. I lived in Houston. I came to San Antonio. She took me. This was my first date with her, where she paid. Right. She took me to Ruth Chris.
Well, hold on. That's pretty impressive.
Well,
I wouldn't say Ruth Chris is quite wives and girlfriend only. What do you think? It's close, right? That's a
I was
close
about to
one.
say, it depends, because
Eddie V's, you and I both agreed quickly. That's wives and girlfriends only.
Yeah.
Ruth Chris is on the cusp.
Yeah.
Here's why. Ruth Chris, they do a fucking good job.
They do.
But and they do such a good job that I kind of think they're reasonably priced. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this?
Because the cowboy steak, which is what I like to get, is goddamn $60. Wife and girlfriend only.
But you can get in and out of Ruth Chris for $25 a person.
It was $200 by the time we got out of there.
Yeah, but you guys just went top class menu. You can get in and out of Ruth Chris $25 a person.
Listen, I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. She told me she was paying. I was like, but the killing part about Ruth Chris, I didn't see the prices because the number's so goddamn small. Guys, if the number's small in the goddamn menu, bro, it's too expensive. Because it's also another thing. Everything on Ruth Chris menu is a la carte.
Oh, yeah.
There's no meal deals.
Well, time out. But they do have a lunch menu. And now I'm realizing that's what I remember about Ruth Chris. I always went there for business lunch, and they do have a lunch menu. So what I'm trying to say is you might be right.
You can get
Ruth Chris for dinner might be a wives and girlfriends only.
You can get away
location.
with it because I have had a Groupon for Ruth Chris before, so you could probably get away with it.
Well, hold on a second. Can we say if there's a Groupon for a restaurant, it's not wives and girlfriends only?
Shit, fuck that. I'm gonna say
you're
this.
right. You're right.
No, because I'm gonna say this: the steaks alone, are 50, can get up to $50, $60. So if it's twice, that's already over 100. You had nothing to drink. You had no sides. You had no appetizer, no soup, no salad, nothing. $120 already if you both get a steak. You trying to tell me that's for a date? Nah, fuck that. I'm not dating you, and it's already over $100, and I ain't had nothing to drink. I ain't had no alcohol, no sides, no salad, no soup, nothing. It's just the steak. No, I can't do it. But that was the cowboy steak. I think that's one of their biggest steaks. Okay, but what I love about Ruth Chris is that hot fucking plate that comes up with the melted butter, and it's a good place to be. I ain't gonna lie. But she did take me to this place, right? But she used to go to Ruth Chris because she can afford it.
Oh, I know which wife this is now.
Yeah, because she can afford it.
This wife, for those of you that have not listened to this podcast for a long time, this wife acted like eating out was the only way you could eat food.
Yeah. This was McDonald's for her.
Yeah.
And
I mean, did she ever cook ever, dude?
yeah. Yeah, she cooked. It wasn't often, but she cooked. It was just one of those times where when every time we went out, you know, it was always experiencing something. It was always like, because I think I had never went to Ruth Chris, actually.
That old sales pitch, right?
Right.
This is an experience.
That's, man, you know what?
We got Anthony was married to Nicki Minaj. Get this moment for life. It's like, all right, man, it's just a meal. Let's fucking calm down.
We just eating, bitch. Damn.
I mean, we could have accomplished the same thing at Cane's.
Did you
see Cane's? I gave you a shout out later. Don't get mad at me, Cane's people. Don't get mad at me. I'm just saying Pappadeaux's chicken fingers are better. I'm sorry.
Do you remember the Roaring Fork?
I remember because you took me there.
Yeah. So
dope place. God damn. Cougar Town, right?
Yes.
Cougar Town.
And so I was.
And these cougars wanted to be fed.
Yes, they did. Great fucking place, man. And they went. Man, I can't believe that they
for our worldly people. This place was in San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio. It's not there anymore, guys. Great fucking place though when it was, and I took her there, you know, because I'm like, bitch took me to Ruth Chris. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and you almost wonder if that was a strategy.
With her, I wouldn't say that. Because
you know what, I agree with you because I've heard so many stories like this chick just ate out for like every fucking meal.
So
how much money did your ex-wife spend on eating out?
Oh,
in a year.
In a year?
$30,000.
I was just about to say easily $25,000 eating out.
Just gone.
Yeah,
just that money's gone forever.
There was you remember the Palladium?
Now, Palladium means something different to me because that was a club in Beaumont when I lived there for a year.
San Antonio had this big, huge fucking movie theater.
Oh, yeah. I know this place.
But they got a restaurant and a bar there, right? I don't know if you've been to that one or not, but they had a restaurant and a bar. So my wife...
Movie theaters don't have a great reputation for great food.
No, not at all.
But they do have a reputation for having very, very expensive food.
Yes.
So you're spending a lot of money for bad food.
Yeah. So we go to the fucking movies, man, and, you know, she wants the experience, so we're going to eat at the fucking...
Have this moment for life.
Yes. We're going to have this fucking movie theater food experience, bro. And I'm like... While
you guys... I mean, did you get to pick the movie, or were you watching like Medea's Halloween?
I would never fucking go to a movie like that. I don't know. I think she picked the movie. I remember I went to the bar to get a drink. I remember that.
While you were watching the movie, he's just not that into you.
Well, I think it was we were married actually. Because we used to go to, like, a restaurant near that movie theater. And I'm going to be honest with you. It was like, you know how San Antonio will have 3 million fucking Mexican restaurants? And so this Mexican restaurant was pretty solid. So we would go there, get their fucking margaritas and their food. And, like, the fajitas was fucking phenomenal there or whatever. But what was the name of this place? Oh man, I'll be lying if I try to tell you.
Cafe
right
Adobe, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No, this place was actually better. It was a little small. Actually, you know where that 1604 I-10 cross section?
Of course, yeah. Lived in that area.
There's a lot of fucking cool little places to eat over there. You just gotta find them. But yeah, we went there a lot. And I actually was hitting on the waitress there, and she was like, "Do you want me to get her number for you?" This is when my wife was cool, right? Like,
Oh, so this was before you were married, in the dating phase.
This was actually me. I think we were actually married at the time when I went to that spot, but because we were living in that area, so we would typically, eat around the area we lived in, and I knew she was fancy that way, so I knew I couldn't take her. And I'll give you an example. I took her to this place called Johnny Caruso. Do you remember Johnny Caruso's?
Well, it wasn't. That's not what it was called. It was called something else. But I know what restaurant you're talking about.
What do you mean it's not called Johnny Caruso?
It's something else Caruso.
Oh, it's not Johnny Caruso?
Yeah, it's something else. But anyways, go on with
So I
point.
took her there. Bitch wasn't impressed. And I was like, bitch, I'm impressed. I'm impressed mainly because I was able to get it's called Johnny Caruso's, man. Is
it on the Riverwalk?
No, it's off 1604.
Johnny Carino's?
Carino's.
Yeah,
Yes, my
Carino's.
fault. My fault. Johnny Carino's.
Oh, and we just had it pop up in the chat. They're like, Johnny Carino's, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I got no problem. But I mean, again, I worked in restaurants, so I know what restaurants are good. That's why we said on this podcast one time, you made a joke about Luby's.
Yeah.
And I got serious, man. I was like,
Luby's
I ain't got no problem with
legit.
Luby's.
Yeah, Luby's legit, though.
By the way, rest in peace, Luby's.
Right.
Went out of business. But
damn.
I was like, man, I ain't got no problem with Luby's. And then you came correct, too. You're like, yeah, that was just a joke, man. I love Luby's.
Yeah, Luby's legit, man.
If your bitch can't go with you on a third date to Luby's,
drop that hoe.
Drop that hoe. Well, we got to wrap this up, man. On this segment, at least. But I got to tell you guys. I mean, let's come back to the nucleus. Guys, don't get bogged down or discouraged because you're comparing yourself to others, and all of a sudden now you're a sexist and you're a misogynist and all this other shit, dude. Guys, as Anthony taught us tonight with his new dating methods, if you take the lead and you have the energy, but you can't take the lead and have the energy unless you believe that you're not a bad guy when you look in the mirror. Because, guys, none of this shit is sexist. Being red pill's not sexist. It's not misogynist. It's not any of those things. Don't look in the mirror and not be proud of yourself. Okay? There's no reason. You guys have the information. I mean, what was it, Anthony? Galileo. They're about to kill that motherfucker just because he said that the sun was the center of the universe. I mean, the center of the galaxy.
The galaxy, yeah.
You guys are the first people with this information. And as we as a community talk and communicate more and share our specific success stories and our specific failures, you'll see that's all it is us out here trying to get knowledge, skill, attitude, more importantly, skill, guys, repetition with experience, that you're not a bad person, guys. You're not a sexist. You're not a chauvinist. And it's going to be very, very difficult to compare yourself to others. But that being said, we'll be talking about this a lot more.
Yeah.
And at the end of 2020 and 2021. We'll be talking about this a whole lot more, Anthony. Anthony, where can they find this on the web, man?
Man, all your favorite podcast listening platforms. I promise you, we're there. Hit us up on redpillphonetap@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, Red Pill Phone Tap Facebook group. And we out this bitch. Hey, happy Thanksgiving or happy holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
And we'll see you.
Goddamn, we don't want to offend you.
Nobody. No goddamn body, right? So we'll holler at you. Thank you for listening to
the Red Pill Phone Tap.
Buy a t-shirt. Rich, buy a t-shirt.
And support this podcast.